you doing?
Show.
Welcome back to Leather Helmet Fandom Podcast. It is Sunday, August 17th, I believe. 7th. August 7th. The first preseason game happened a few days ago, so wasn't really much to tell from it, especially the first couple preseason games, but it's good to be back. It's good to see football again, and I'm ready to annihilate all people inside of fantasy this year. How about you, Josh?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good this year. You know, every year you feel a little wiser. You feel like
you know a little bit more, and then you
got a little more in your bag.
It's fantasy.
I mean, that comes with it. So you never know what's going to happen, but I feel good. I'm putting the work in. I'm not listening. I mean, I'm bringing in info from other people, but I'm trying not to follow exactly what people say.
Go with your own taste.
Doing my own research and gut feelings.
All right, so with today, let's go off with the top 10 running backs in fantasy football for full PPR. I don't know. How do you feel about PPR before we swing into it? Would you rather play half or would you rather play PPR? Because sometimes I think about it, I'm like, I feel like I kind of rather have half because then the top running backs would not be as dominant, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I can see half. I mean, a lot of people are pushing towards half, like just competitive leagues. But I don't think it's really much of a difference. It just gives a little bit more of an edge to pass-catching backs. They kind of jump way ahead. Someone like Austin Eckler or like a Christian McCaffrey. They kind of just jump ahead. But I don't think it's too much an advantage that it matters too much. It just changes your rankings slightly.
It also dumbs down the wide receivers a little bit, too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because I haven't played too much half PPR, that, like, possession guys that are big targets, someone like, I don't know, let's say Julio Jones, he gets the targets, yardage, but he doesn't get the touchdowns.
Exactly.
They get a little bumped down, but in general, I don't think it changes enough that, like, you'll be like, oh, versus standard, you're like, yeah, this is a huge difference.
All right, well, let's get right into it. We will start off with the one I think everyone's one. I don't think anyone else is really going to. Yeah.
Everybody's not going to.
It's for sure. This is everyone's one. Possibly the second might be like interchangeable with some people, but I think everyone just rather play it safe, especially if you're the first overall pick. You want to go first, Josh?
We both just said we know what it is. So JT, Jonathan Taylor, Colts.
Yeah, buddy.
We're both on the same page. I think everybody out there is on the same page. I mean, you can't really deny what he's done as a young running back. He's a stud. He's on a great offensive line, a coach and team that wants to run the ball. He gets a slightly better bump with Matt Ryan at QB.
Yes.
I guess I wouldn't say over his career he's known to dump off that much as far as dumping off to the running back.
He took a little tick last year.
But, I mean, you saw what's his name last year, Patterson.
Yeah.
Granted, I think that was a different scenario versus the Colts have a little bit better wide receiver set.
And they'll be up more, so they won't be throwing as much.
Yeah. And the one thing I like, though, is he has so much pass protection with his offensive line that I just don't see this offense being bad unless Matt Ryan just takes a poop or gets hurt.
Oh, for sure. There's no. I don't think there's I would say his floor is like the highest of everyone that you could possibly pick from, and I think that's why I'm going to take him number one overall. Like that's the only thing. That and like his ceiling is just as high as anyone else. The only other person I think can have a higher ceiling is my next one. We'll move on straight to it since we both have JT as the number one. It's Christian McCaffrey. I think his ceiling can be higher than JT's only because I think he can. Yeah, exactly. I think he can catch a shit ton more. I think he can score a lot more. I think their defense isn't as good, so they're going to be like throwing the ball nonstop. I think he could take the runs as well. Like most of it, I don't even know who the backup is nowadays because Mike Davis is gone. So.
Still Hubbard.
Is it? Oh yeah, that's right. They drafted him last year, but even when he took over last year, he didn't look like Christian McCaffrey at all. Where Mike Davis took over the year prior to that, and he actually looked like Christian McCaffrey. Not looked like him, but he took like some of the same points for fantasy.
I'm always surprised like how well their running backs do with like having a poor offensive line, at least graded and just how they perform.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's where I think Mike Davis was a little bit more talented than Hubbard was. Plus, he was also his rookie year, so I don't know. Maybe
no
not.
way.
You don't think so?
I mean, they both were mediocre running backs, but Mike Davis is trash.
His numbers were so much better, though, than Hubbard's last year.
Trash. That's what I said.
Either way, it just shows that raw talent and how CMC's ceiling can be way higher. Not way higher, but higher than JT's because his offensive line, it's not like Jonathan Taylor's. Imagine Chris McCaffrey going in the Colts, like he would just dominate, even though I don't think they would use him the same way. But
are you like any change in how excited you are with him with Baker there, or is it stay the same?
I would say yeah, just because I think Baker is the worst starting QB in this league going this year. It's either between him and
I feel like that's not possible.
Jaguars.
So Mitchell Trubisky is better than Baker Mayfield? No.
I think he will be, yeah. As a passer, right, yes, he is. I truthfully, I think Panthers getting Baker is going to be like, they're like, holy shit, we suck like more than anyone else in this league. I mean, I still think Texans are going to be the worst. Jaguars will be the worst.
I think
Falcons will be the worst. No.
I think that what they've been missing is a QB that's wants to go out there and isn't afraid, which Baker's not afraid.
He's not. I'll give him that. Thing. But that's why he's not good, because he's too not afraid, and he just slings the ball. And he's just go back last year. I don't know how many interceptions he had, but I know it was a shit ton. Like, he's not good at all as controlling the ball and just keeping it on in their hands.
I like the Panthers a lot, but I still don't have McCaffrey at my number 2.
Damn, you don't? Who's your number 2?
It's just too
risky because of his injury?
Mostly just because of his injury history. I mean, I did like the quote Matt Rule just came out with, their head coach. He said just this week that they're playing with Christian McCaffrey is just attack. So they're pretty much going to use the shit out of him.
They're going to beat him down and hopefully it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, he's good at staying for the most part, avoiding contact and whatnot. But with all that said, I can't put him at my number 2 spot because it's just too risky and too much of his floor is not awful, but it's low enough that I'm like, this isn't worth my first pick.
No, I understand.
I can't. It's just not worth jumping the gun, like, just because of his history.
You also had big, huge disappointments year after year. I think you had David Johnson the 1 year he hurt. You had last year Henry. I don't know who you else had the first time, but I know you get hit with a lot of first round running back injuries.
It's just a bad decision to take your first couple picks with people that you're not comfortable with playing the whole year.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I hope he does well and he bounces back. But.
Which I can see your second, so why don't you lead on to who your second actually
is? So my second, at the same time, he has somewhat of a like bad injury history, but at the same time, if you look back, it's literally just a couple games here and there always. So I think it's more of a maintenance thing. But Dalvin Cook is my number 2. I really, really like the offense change at the Vikings with Mike Zimmer gone. I think they're going to throw the ball more. I think Dalvin Cook gets a pretty good, hefty bump in targets, maybe 10 to 20 more. And, yeah, I like them as a good team to go at least to the championship for NFC. I think it's their time to shine. If it's any other time, it's got to be now for Kirk Cousins. I mean, they had wide receivers to open it up. Osborne's looking better. Jefferson's there. Thiel's always a threat in the red zone. So I've always liked Cook. I think he runs hard, but at the same time has enough agility to get yards after contact. I just think he's going to have a really good year. He really always has a good year. It's more so just
staying healthy.
Yeah, not missing those 3 to 4 games he always misses. So he doesn't miss 3 games.
So he's had 3 games or
he's
3 years.
A solid floor.
He has 3 years where he's missed 5 or more games, and last year was one of them. And I believe I had him. I'm not too sure.
But it always seems like he's held out more than he is. Like they're always in a go position, like record.
Like he doesn't need to play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like they just don't play him.
Fair enough.
So I don't see, as long as he doesn't tweak anything in pre-camp, why he couldn't get a really good start and like jump ahead of like your Jonathan Taylors, your Chris McCaffreys. Like I can just see him
He's got to be how old? He's got to be older, way
putting
older
up
than CMC.
2 touchdowns every game.
He is
like people always talk about Jonathan
26.
Taylor's touchdowns, but this man puts up double touchdown games like it's nothing. Versus like
for sure,
Panthers are going to struggle with Chris McCaffrey.
Yeah,
double
they
touchdowns.
give him the rock instantly. But I also think like the way they're talking in like beat reporters and shit like that, they're just like nonstop saying like they're going to throw more to him. They're going to throw more in general. So
and the one thing you always got to like,
I do like him a lot.
Just like you like Jonathan Taylor and Chris McCaffrey, he's one of the few running backs that's going to get the whole workload.
Oh, for sure. So CMC though.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's like those three.
Yeah.
The one nice thing is too is Kirk Cousins never going to take. Well, I don't want to say never, but almost never going to take touchdowns away from the running back. Versus like Baker, Matt Ryan's not going to. So you got to kind of look out for those top guys. Like, oh, is my running back going to lose touchdowns to?
I also like it too because you can pair him in the late round, so you don't have to be like the first top 3.
Oh yeah, he's going.
So you can pair him with another good running back if you come swing back around. Like
I don't think he's coming back the second round.
Cook? No, I meant like you can pair a good running back coming around the second end because if you play like a 10-person league, which most people play like 12, like you're coming back around. Say if you have 8th, you get him at 8th, and then you come back around. That's like 4 more turns. Like that, you just gotta wait. It's not anything crazy. So you could get another great running back, which will lead into with, I think someone else that you could pair up with, and it would be deadly. But yeah, I like the pick. Let's move on to the third.
Thirds.
You can go with your third because your third is different as well.
Lots of controversy here. He sneaks in my top 10. All right, I'll start off though. So my third is my love of the year is my man DeAndre Swift of the Detroit Lions. I just love his upside. Like, the man is so explosive. I think the only rookie I like, well, younger players, the first couple years, like more than him, as far as talent-wise, is Javonte Williams. But I think Devontae Swift has one of the best offensive lines. They want to use him a lot. My only concern, I guess you would say, is because of his output the year before and production in the passing game, it was so high. It might come down a little bit. Like, he was getting multiple games with 10 targets or more. It was honestly insane for a running back. But at the same time, Goff was never known for being thrown down the field much. So he does like to have that safety blanket. So he's still going to use it. It's more so just that they brought in so many pass catchers this year. They drafted a really high, if not the highest, sought-out wide receiver in Jameson Williams.
Yep.
James Williams? I don't know. Something like that.
I think it was James.
But he's hurt, so he's not going to play the first at least 4 to 6 weeks. I think they'll ease him in. So that doesn't hurt him too much, but then they also brought in
this is why
good old DJ Shark.
No, that's not why.
And they brought in, I don't think anybody else.
They brought back Jamal Williams. Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, the Weller Williams is still there. But honestly, I'm not worried about him. He's getting older and older.
Right, but the reason Swift had an amazing year last year, I believe, was because
Williams was hurt.
He was. No, I think they gave away Williams. I think he went somewhere else, and now he came back. They didn't draft him back, but they got him back. Jamal Williams.
No way he never left. He never left.
Well, either way, I think he's what made him have excel last year because Swift had every down, every single play was like Swift.
I feel like they want to use him though, like that. Like, he's so explosive that like I don't think Williams is going to eat into his share as much as you think. Like, I could see Swift easily getting a 70% share, which is up from last year.
I can see his receiving coming down. Like, on average, it looks like he has like 6 to 8 a game, and I could just see that coming down to like 5 to 7, something like that. I would say around their average.
I mean, I could see that, but it's just the fact that I like the Lions team in general, just what they're doing. I think they're going to have – they honestly weren't bad last year. Like, they had competitive games where they lost just by 1 point nonstop or one scoring games. So I think they're going to get more offensive opportunities. The defense is going to be a little bit better. They're not changing too much coach-wise, so they should have some of the same – like, they're going to build on what they did last year. They're not going to get worse. I don't think anybody thinks they're going to be worse. And when you have like a crappy team with a good offensive line, you're going to rely on what they're best at, which is DeAndre Swift. So I like him a lot. I still think he's a jump down, a huge jump down from Jonathan Taylor. So, like, I see, like, Swift, Cook kind of at the same level. I just like Swift's upside a little bit more than Cook's.
Swift's upside's very, very high. I think it's just up there as far as.
And he also has the best offensive line out of like my top 5 guys. So I always like a good offensive line more than anything.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Which is why I think you have Joe Mixon up there, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to see. But
what's your third?
My third is Austin Eckler. I don't think Spill, right, is the rookie they picked up. Spiller. I don't think he's going to play as much as a role as people think he is, regardless of what beat reporters say. It's a rookie running back, especially if there's already a starter, definitive starter as well. Like, he popped off last year. I think it was like 20-plus touchdowns. You don't need to, like, bring in another guy and, like, start them up right away or, like, feed into the role. Plus, Chargers never been like that really, other than when they had Melvin Gordon. That's who it was, and they started with Melvin Gordon. Then they had Eckler, and Eckler really didn't get like the only reason Eckler started popping off was because Melvin Gordon got hurt, and then he started like taking ticks down, and then Eckler took over the role once Gordon left. So I think it's gonna be the same way. I think Spiller is gonna start.
Who's ahead of Spiller? I forget. It's Eckler and then somebody else and Spiller. Jackson still there?
Yeah, I think it's that then.
And then the other
last year, I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, no, they had 2, I think, Jacksons. The one's still there, and the other one went to, I forget, Patriots maybe?
Possibly.
Somewhere irrelevant.
So the only thing I don't like about Austin Eckler, other than that I think he's going to have a very high upside. I think his floor is going to be, I think he could have like a medium to like high floor. I definitely could see it like, what's his name? I think Swiss floor is going to be higher, to be honest, than Eckler's, but I just see Eckler being on a way better offense. And as much as you could say, like, Swift, like, oh, that'll get him a lot of, like, targets because they're going to be throwing a lot more, I think the reason Austin Eckler finished the top 4 last year was because of the touchdowns, and I think his team only got better. And I believe, like...
Didn't he have, like, 20 touchdowns?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And you think he's going to repeat that, though?
I don't know if he's going to repeat, but I think it's still going to be enough where it's going to outshine Swift. And that's why I like him where he's at with the top 3. I could honestly put him in 4th, too, but I like him at top 3 just because of his receiving side and, what's it called? And his ability to just take over the backfield in the run game as well. So it's like he has both. There's no way he doesn't have both, if not all of it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he always gets the goal line work when it comes to it. Like I don't think a rookie dude's going to come in and take his goal line work.
It's not more about the running back taking the work. It's more so that he's going to get less compared to last year, but because it's going to go to Keenan Allen's, it's going to go to Williams.
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. I forgot his first name. Yeah, Mike Williams. It's going to go to the other guy they like a lot, Josh Palmer. Just like more targets there because they're going to stack the box a little bit more. Granted, at the same time, he's not really, most of his touchdowns are like receiving touchdowns too, so he kind of runs out on the edge. But I just, like repeating something like that when you're touching the ball as little as he is, it just, I don't know. I think the only reason I like have some confidence is because of their coaching change. Austin Eckler came out really big last year, and that was the same year that the Saints offensive coordinator took over as the head coach.
Yes.
And he was so good at getting Kamara the ball in the red zone and scheming it up for their running back to just be wide open, so he just runs it in. He maybe has to run like 5 yards really hard, and that's it. But he just really sets up their running back and has a lot of good looks for them. So that's why I like him. But at the same time, I think his workload is going to go down just a tad, mainly because they care more about him being healthy the whole season than they do about...
Yeah, I would agree with you. But they also need to take a step up this year. They've been disappointments the last 2 years.
They have not been last year, they're not disappointing.
They didn't make playoffs in one of the 2 years.
That's just... They literally... If you look at their record...
This is their year.
If you look at their record, how many games they lost last year by 1 score... So
I know.
It's like
all close games. I understand.
They went like 2 for 5.
So let me jump on something too. You said right before you got off your top 3 was you love or top 4. You love your offensive lines. I love Chargers offensive line. I think they're going to finish in the top 3 easily. possibly be like the definitive one if Colts don't hold on to it. I don't even know if they were last year. But I love his offensive line. I love how high-power offense his whole team is. And I also love that Mike Williams has gotten hurt in the past. And then he could take over that role.
Like,
who's the other dude?
Think they're going to be, this is their year? Like, let's say they are take a huge jump.
I think they'll be top 3, like, for offense. And they also have a good defense.
That's what I'm saying. Like, their defense, I feel like, might be way too good that, like I think their defense is going to take the biggest jump versus almost any team out there versus, like, maybe the Saints.
We also have to understand it's Eckler. Eckler takes care of himself more than anyone. That's why he's, like, strongest pound for pound.
I'm not even worried about him.
So he's not going to get hurt. So if they just go up nonstop, they're just going to run the ball. And I think he's still going to take the balls and run it.
I think they're going to be up so much.
With how good his offensive line is, he's not going to get touched.
I think they're going to sit them more than they're up that much, and they should be up a lot more this year.
Yeah, I mean,
I really don't. I see
they're definitely going to be up more this year for sure, and like it's not going to make it a close game, and that's all they were last year. But I think they're just with how high their offense is. I think it's just going to be scoring. But anyway, it could be debatable until it actually pans out.
I mean, I still like him. Like I have him in my top. Maybe I don't
say it's like
I have him in my top 10, but like he's only, I don't know, 40 points away from me versus like my top 5 guys. So it's more so just he's definitely losing touchdowns regardless. And then I think he just loses a slight work just because of everything game script wise.
Yeah, my biggest thing is he's healthy, and that's why I have him over my next guy, which is 4th, Dalvin Cook. I don't really know. Are you on your 4th or are you on your 5th?
No, I'm on my 4th. I already went over Swift.
Oh, okay. So I'm going on my 4th. Your 4th was
Dalvin
Swift.
Cook. No, my 3rd was Swift.
Oh, okay, I see it now. Okay, so going to my 4th. This is the only reason that I have Dalvin Cook under Austin Eckler. Honestly, I'd rather have Dalvin Cook in the 3rd, but I'm already having Christian McCaffrey up there in my 2nd. So I don't want to like. I don't want to be like, oh, if I'm 2nd or 3rd, I'm not gonna be like, all right, it's either gonna be health risk and health risk for 2nd and 3rd. Like I kind of want my options open, and honestly, I think Eckler has more of a high power offense, like I was just talking about. So that's why I want him. Plus, I think he's going to take more share than people think. I don't think Spiller's going to spill into it, and I don't think Josh Jackson is going to take much into it. And even if he does, I think they're going to score enough where he has it. The whole reason he was great last year was because of the 20-plus touchdowns. So I think he's, regardless if he digresses from it, I think he's still going to like be 17 to 20, somewhere around there. So with that being said, the 4th one I'm taking because solely of injuries, and it's Dalvin Cook. I love Dalvin Cook as the running back, but like I said, he had three years where he missed 5 or more games. Last year was one of them. He missed 5, and that's the only reason he had a off year was because his 5 games that he missed. And also is later in the season. I wouldn't say he's getting older, but he's already had 3 years where he had tremendous injury throughout the year. So that just says, like, hey, as the season goes on, he's going to get more and more beat up. So he's going to be more and more health risk. And that's when I need him the most. I don't need a guy to fucking get me to the playoffs and then shit the bed in the playoffs and then be like, okay, my guy did amazing, but now in playoffs he really pooped the bed and now I can't do it. Whereas Christian McCaffrey, I feel more comfortable. Eckler, I feel more comfortable to stay healthy all year long. And then JT, I definitely feel more comfortable. So the next guy up is Dalvin Cook. Honestly, I feel Swift more comfortable as well, but I just like Dalvin Cook has been more proven, and he's on a better offense. He's going to get more touchdowns. I love how they're just talking about passing him the ball more. They're talking about passing more in general, and him having more of a receiving role than a running role. So I really like that. Plus, I just like how when it comes to goal line, other than Thielen getting touchdown after touchdown after touchdown every single freaking year, and he doesn't digress at all, I really like that. Like with this year coming up, I don't think Thielen's going to keep doing that as much as he did the previous years, and I think they're going to give the ball more to Cook, or they're going to give it to Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson's going to take a huge tick this year as far as touchdowns go. So I like it more open. What else could I say? I mean, it's really just his ceiling's high, and his floor is also high as well. So the only thing is injury risk, and that's why I put him at 4 instead of 3 for me. But you obviously already talked about him, so you want to jump straight into your 4th one?
Yeah. So I have fourth, Christian McCaffrey. So I think, we already spoke a lot about him, and I really like the Panthers overall, what they've been doing. I just think between his injury risk and I think his receiving yards, like he's not going to put up, I think, 1,000 receiving and 1,000 rushing. He'll probably definitely get 1,000 rushing, but just getting both of them, which he's known for been doing in his good years, seems highly unlikely with a Baker as a quick QB who likes to sling it a little bit more. And they have the receivers to do it between DJ Moore, their rookie coming up, not rookie, but he was a rookie last year. They like a lot.
Hubbard?
Huh?
Talked about Hubbard?
No, I was talking more about
receivers?
the receivers that they like.
I don't know anyone other than Moore, to be honest, and Anderson. If Anderson's still there, I think he retired.
Somebody else. No, I don't. I mean, he's always talking in his head. He's stuck in his head. But no, they have good receivers. I think they're going to play a lot more closer games and just try to be more managing the game clock. But I mean, like, when I look at his numbers, like I have him for 800 receiving, 1,400 rushing, and 13 touchdowns. That sounds really close to what he'll do. I think it's a little bit less than his star years, which makes sense. Yeah, so, and honestly, I think those are good numbers even without getting hurt. So,
well, my biggest thing about McCaffrey is I feel like if he doesn't get hurt for more than 4 games, we'll call it, I think he makes, and as long as it's not the last 4 games, I really hate that stuff when they don't show up in playoffs and they get hurt. But if he makes it to playoffs and he only misses 4 games, he's that type of level that like will win you leagues. Like he's a league winner. And that's what like JT is and him, and that's why I have
stats I just gave you put him at 390 for the year, and the next person closest to that is JT. He's 30 points ahead of that. But like Dalvin Cook, who I have ranked number 2, he's 50 points, almost 50 points less than what I project Christian McCaffrey to have. But just the fact of the injury risk is not worth it to me. So I had to bump him down to 4. I think if I saw, like, that's just where I feel comfortable taking him. So, like, let's say all 3 of my top guys went, and this is probably a scenario that never happened because of his name. Everyone's going to take him way before that.
Oh, for sure.
But if he's 4th off the board, he'd probably be, like, number 6 or 7th total. There's going to be a couple of wide receivers that go, if not one. So if he fell to, like, 6, I would take him.
What about if JT and...
But I wouldn't take him any earlier.
What about if JT and
nobody
Cook,
feels that way.
JT and Cook took 1st and 2nd?
So would I take him 3rd?
Are you taking Swift 3rd, or are you taking CMC 3rd?
That's tough just because
it's really tough.
I do have McCaffrey projected a lot higher if he plays off a year. I still think I'd rather go Swift just because of the consistency between the coaches, the personnel. McCaffrey has a little bit more changing with him. I mean, first, he's coming back from injury, many injuries. Second, he has a new coach that he hasn't worked with, but he hasn't played with that much, Matt Rule. And then third, a brand new QB. I mean, he's had a lot of crappy QBs, but it's still another QB. So it's just another variable that, like, we don't know how much that's going to change what he's done before.
True.
So I'd rather stick with what I've seen that isn't changing, which is Swift. So, yeah, I would probably take Swift 3rd. I mean, is there a good chance that McCaffrey does a little bit better? Yeah. But do I feel more comfortable taking Swift? Yeah. So I'd still take him at 3rd. Like I said, I'd probably McCaffrey, the earliest I'd probably take him is like 5 or 6 spot.
Okay.
And everyone's going to take him before me, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unless you got some weird league. But
you'd have to have a really
hate on that
CMC league. I mean, I've seen him fall to like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But that's it, the latest.
If he's falling outside of 5 and you get him, you got really lucky. That's all I got to say. Because then you get that comeback.
Would you take him 3rd? Well, you already have him 2nd. So would you take him 2nd?
I'm taking him 2nd, yeah. I'm taking him 2nd over anyone, no matter what. If the JT and CMC are like the 2 guys where I'm like, if they stay healthy, which I know, but I would say anyone in the top 10 can be a person that just completely disappoints you, and it's like your RB1. So it's like, let me like actually reach and like try to get the one that's like, if I have JT or I have CMC and they stay healthy, like I'm most likely being top 3 in the league. If not, I'm winning it all. Yeah. Plain as that. Like, and I don't think Barkley's like that anymore. He had 1 good rookie year, and now he's just like fallen off since.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's like JT, like you were saying, CMC, and then like there's a break.
Oh yeah,
on like how high anybody else can go.
Like their ceiling is way more higher than anyone else's, I think.
Which is why they go 1 and 2 usually.
Yeah. So where were we at? 4, 5? That was
5 now for both of us.
We're on 5. All right. Yeah. My next one up, I'll just talk about mine since we already talked about it, is DeAndre Swift. The reason I love him the most is because his back end schedule is phenomenal. I know you don't take much into consideration with that, but year in and year out, I make it to playoffs, and year in and year out, I want an amazing matchup.
But don't you feel like the defenses change?
They do
a lot of the times. Most of the time, to injury throughout the season. Like you lose 2 to 3 guys that are your head guys in defense. Your defense just completely changes.
But if they already starting bad and then it just gets worse, then it's probably going to even worse. They're not going to get better, is what I'm saying. The people they're playing.
Yeah, I get that, but like,
unless rookies show up.
What was Steelers last year? One of the worst rush defenses, right?
Yeah, and the year before
they were really pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah.
So but do you know why though? Because they started off with 2 of their D linemen out that were like phenomenal defensive linemen, Aluwalu and the guy that just retired. I forget his name, but I'm not.
But you're a Steelers fan. Like, do you really have that much insight to everybody else's defense? You know what I mean?
No, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, I know that they're already ranked. Like, if Steelers defense went in with those 2 guys, like they would still be sought out, which they kind of were by some people that didn't know much into Steelers. They would be sought out as like an amazing rush defense because that's like what everyone thought.
They're like dead last.
Yeah. Because they lost their 2 like main guys, so all they had was T.J. Watt, which is more of a pass rusher than anything, and then they have Cam, which is the guy that really stops, and then they had a second-year linebacker, which also played the role.
Defenses could get worse, but they usually don't get much better.
Right, which is why I love his schedule. Let me go right through it. Is the back end schedule in playoffs? If you play playoffs week 17, 16, and 15, I believe is ours. So if that's how you play it, you skip the week 18 because most people don't play. First one is the finals. If you make it to finals, you make it to your last game, you're playing Chicago's defense. Come on.
Talking about week 17, right?
Week 17. Yeah, week 17. Chicago's defense is who Lions play. Even if they are going back and forth.
I like it.
Like they're just going to be able he's going to be able to shit all of them. Next one up is Carolina Panthers. I don't think their defense is good either.
I like it.
They were pretty decent last year, but it wasn't like they took any huge steps in the offseason to make it like
but a lot of their
stand out.
Players were young rookies, and they were like really good for rookies.
That's what I'm saying, but they haven't done anything. They
jump up.
I don't think
like
they're
there's no
that
big accusations. Like they haven't brought in a big free agent or anything. But
plus, it's not like you don't have the Saints, or it's not like it's like the Broncos or something like that. Like it's a soft defense compared to most defense. I would put them outside of top 10.
Yeah, outside top 10. But I think they could be top 15.
And then so that's playoffs again. That would be you're going into finals, whatever it is. I believe there's only 3 games, right? There's 2 games, and then if you have a 10-team league, 2 games, and then playoff finals.
Yeah, I mean, most people play either 3 or 2 week playoffs, so,
right. So that's week
anywhere
16.
from 15, 16, 17.
So the first week of playoffs that you have is 15. Usually, you got the Jets. Come on now, easy defense again. Those are 3 phenomenal defenses. If you compare them to other people's back end schedule for playoffs, tremendous. And then you have Swift on top of it that is young. He obviously got hurt at the end of the season last year, but I don't think it's going to be anything like crazy that's going to happen again. And then right after that, following that, you have Vikings. I like Vikings a little bit, but then you have Jacksonville right after that too. So if you just keep going on with the list too, you have Jacksonville, then you have Buffalo. Buffalo is very hard, obviously, but then you have Giants, shit defense. Then you have Chicago again, shit defense. Then you have Green Bay, very good secondary, not as good as rush defense. Then you have Miami, again, very, very good secondary, not that good of a rush defense. Then you have Dallas, they're pretty good, I would say. New England, good. Seattle Seahawks, trash. Minnesota Vikings, again, I think they're pretty good. Washington, I think they're very good. Philadelphia, I think they're very good. So his front end schedule is going to be tough, but if he has a bad start to the year, definitely look to try to trade him. Like, if someone's giving him up, he's like, oh, this dude was hurt last year. He's having a bad beginning of this year. Go for him because his back-end schedule is godlike. That's why I have him in my top 5. That's why he is my 5th. and that's really solely only why. And then other than that, he gets so many targets, it's unbelievable. So I think he can have a huge ceiling. Honestly, I think it could be just as high as like Eckler's, I would say. And no, I couldn't say CMC. Jonathan Taylor, I could say, honestly. I could see Jonathan Taylor taking a tick down, which then I could see his ceiling being just as high as Swift this year. So that's why I have him in my top
CMC the highest.
Easily has the highest ceiling out of anyone in this.
Yeah, I still think it's JT. I have.
I think he's gonna take a tick this year. The fact that Derrick Henry would have had a better year last year if he just played out the rest and still was just average, way better than Jonathan Taylor, still just blows my mind that like just because Jonathan Taylor was the number one, we all like made him as like, dude, he had an elite year, like CMC year. CMC had 2 years like that. Barkley had one rookie year like that. David Johnson had 1 year like that. But we automatically assumed JT had a year like that. But it really wasn't in comparison to like the other years that we had. If you just look at their week to week, like how many points they're putting up, like CMC was 25 plus almost every single game. I don't know what his average was, but you just look at it and you're like, oh, this dude, if he gets 25, I'm used to it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's CMC, whatever. Let's move on. Or if it's JT. Last year, yeah, but do I see it happening again? No. What was there, like 3 games where he had 3 touchdowns, right? It's like multiple touchdowns week in and week out. Like, I think that's what helped him excel his ceiling more than anything. But I still see, I wouldn't say Swift's ceiling's higher than JT's, but I would say it can be just as high, or it can start breaching it where it might pass it. But either way, the reason I love it is his back end schedule, and then how versatile he is. Just catches it, running. I guess Jamal Williams will be a little bit of a hinder on him, but nah. All right, we'll have to wait and see.
He's a funny guy, but that's about it.
But obviously, his ADP is 8 right now, I believe, in Sleeper. So me and Josh have him way higher than everyone else.
Well, that's with receivers, though. Don't forget.
So if you are in our league and you're watching this, you can go fuck off, all right? Because I don't want you taking Swift in the top 5, or I'll be really, really upset.
Yeah, if he goes, he goes. But I would like him. If I can get him come back to second, that'd be it.
All right, let me put this in perspective, actually, since we just talked about it, and then we're capping off our top 5. You could talk about yours real fast. Imagine getting Cook in the 8th, and then swinging back around and getting Swift.
Yeah, it'd be dirty.
That's the team I want so bad. So bad. Cook, swing back around, Swift, come back around, grab a amazing quarterback or wide receiver.
Nah.
Yeah, you could like third round. Josh Allen, you want to take him late third? I would take him late third if I got that stacked. Wide receivers go deep, bro.
Yeah, they do.
And you don't get good wide receivers on the back third. You don't.
I like having a
good wide receivers.
Someone like Josh Allen, but you'd have to really feel comfortable with what's left receiver wise. I guess it depends how many receivers come off, really.
Yeah. The only reason I don't like Josh Allen as much is because Hurts and what's his name exists this year. Hurts and 49ers.
Trey Lance.
It's the only reason I'd rather get them because their ADP's worth it. But we're going on QBs. We're progressing here. Let's move on. Your top 5.
My 5th is Joe Mixon. Honestly, I like the consistency. I don't think anything changed in a negative way for the Bengals. I don't love their coach, but the fact that they kept all their coaching staff is a good thing. Their offensive line, they picked up a good amount of offensive line guys. I think they picked up 3 new ones between the rookie and the 2 free agents. Pro Football Focus, not that I give too much into their thought, but the fact that they alone had them bumping up 12 spots from last year. So they went from... Right now, they have them at 8th best O-line, but they had them in 20th last year. So, not that they're going to be as good as they think they will, but the fact that they know they brought in better players, it's got to be better. What's his name is getting hit so often, Joe Burrow, that he's going to have more time to sit in the pocket, and if he has to, use Mixon, and they're just going to be able to get better holes and all that for the running back. But honestly, I didn't even bump him up much from last year. The only thing I bumped up a little bit was his touchdowns. I have him scoring the second most efficient. So for every time he touches the ball, I have him scoring only second to Jonathan Taylor. So I think he's going to have one of the best offenses to score touchdowns, and he's going to have the best opportunities. What's his name? Actually, either got traded or just got really hurt. Their backup that they were hyping up, I think, is a rookie.
No, he went to Bucks last year.
Yeah, but no, he's gone.
Yeah.
Gio Bernard left. So he left, and he was the next most experienced that actually got playing time.
I don't
was their rookie.
The
it was like some weird name, like Mark Ryans or some short. But whatever. He actually was doing really well in the pass catching game, and he just got hurt in the preseason, or not preseason, training camp. So what's behind him? Almost nothing. Nothing with experience, nothing with anything that is going to get the ball. So I did give him a small uptick in his snaps, like 5% more. But with that little uptick and just confidence in the Bengals as a team, I have him as my 5th spot, and really the most, like, everybody I feel just as confident with in my top 5, but I think he has a slightly lower injury risk just because they don't have to rely on him as much because they have good receivers. They have everything they need except maybe a star tight end. But yeah, I like him. I think he's safer than McCaffrey. I think he's safer than Cook.
I think he's one of the safest players other than JT.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it'd be a little wild, but taking Joe Mixon as the second one off the board, it's not stupid to the point that you know what you're pretty much getting if he plays all year. And it's safe.
You're playing the really safe route, but the thing with that is...
like you're getting a top 10 running back guaranteed.
The thing with that is, though, I'd rather take a wide receiver at that point, like a Kupp or a Jefferson over them, because taking him at 2, you're going to come back and you're not going to get you're not going to get anything special running back wise, and you're going to get like low end wide receiver 1 at that point on the way back.
Yeah, like I think you can get just as safe running backs later. Well, that's the thing, though. Mixon's going pretty late, too. Like, I don't know. I just think he's, like, thrown off to the side just because he's always been average.
You like him as your wraparound. Like, you really like his ADP. That's why you have him so high, because his ADP...
No, I have him high just because I think he should be in the top 5, and I think he'll land there.
Okay.
Like, I think the lowest he could...
I like him for his ADP, but...
The lowest his floor I see is number 8. And that's if everybody else does really, really well.
All right. Well,
I think he can get all the way up to number 2. I don't think he'll ever be number 1 unless somebody else gets injured, you know?
I think it's more or less our lock missed when we took his under for rushing. So now you're like, I got to fucking feed him a little bit so I don't get screwed by him again. Because he screwed us pretty hard last year.
Yeah, but he had a crappy offensive line, and he still was... balling out for the most part. I mean, we could go over like.
No.
You want to look at the?
We're already on the 5th one. We got 5 more to go.
All right, moving on.
Moving on though to the 6th.
This is where
it's actually really weird because
this is where I drop.
We are the same again. So the first out of everyone we're the same, and the 6th we're out of everyone. I got Derrick Henry, and obviously Josh does too.
Yeah.
Why do you like him here rather than some of the other people that you have behind him? Or some of the people that some people would put ahead of him, should I say?
I just feel like...
Well, his ADP is probably, what, 3, 4?
All I have to think about him this year is negatives.
I agree.
I can't think of a single...
He's coming off, what, ACL, right? Let me check.
No, foot. It was like a weird foot. I heard this on YouTube.
It was the inside of his ankle that he rolled, which is way harder to actually like injure than your outside of your ankle.
And he broke
which apparently it's way more harder for it to heal and like actually stay healthy, because once it's like I don't know if he broke it, but whatever he did to it, it's a lot more harder to like not reoccur, because once it's like broken, it kind of never really heals, so it just continues to happen.
I mean, I know I tore both the sides of my ankle on the right side, which is strange. I literally the exact same time.
Outside?
The outside and the inside I tore at the exact same time, which is kind of insane. But obviously he's got way better doctors than I did. I didn't even know I tore him until like a year later, and that's why I have a bulgy right ankle.
He broke his bone in his foot.
Yeah, it was a Lefranc.
Yeah.
Which is, people do not speak highly of it as far as like coming back to a high performance. But, yeah, you have his injury from last year. My man he's a huge dude who has to deal with a foot injury. Like, that's probably one of the worst ones for a huge dude.
You're cutting on it all the time. That's all you do is just your fucking ankles like this the entire time.
I already didn't like how he runs, so now he's going to run worse. He's aging. He's like 28, 29. He has the highest workload of anybody at that age. Like, my man rushed so many times.
Their offense is taking huge tick down.
Yeah, huge tick down. They lost A.J. Brown. Their star rookie's already not looking great up to standards of what they want. There's not a single thing I like about the Titans, and there's not a single thing I see going the positive direction of Derrick Henry. I mean, yeah, he started off like an insane pace, but that's a completely different team, and that's before an injury of a 28-year-old dude. Like this dude feeds off of touchdowns, and just wearing the defense down. Like, he's really not that good of a rusher. He doesn't have that great of agility.
After this injury, maybe not, but
he uses like brute force more than anything, and his size.
His explosiveness after getting out of the pocket is tremendous. He was like one of the fastest guys out of the pocket.
As soon as he gets contact, like I don't know. I don't like anything like him. His upside is flat out.
He had a good offensive line last year and the year before that. His O-line
and his
held him.
Offensive line is bottom of the pack. He's ranked 27th.
Yeah, they're getting old.
And they lost, I think, one of their top guys, their best offensive line guy.
Nah, their best is Lewan. He didn't lose.
Whatever. All I know is offensive line.
He was hurt last year, 2 years ago.
Is going to be worse. I have him projected pretty well points wise, but I don't like anything about him. Like, I would be fine. The only time I feel like I'd have to take him is second round. And he's not going to make it there.
Yeah.
Like, people are taking him third. I'm like, no, I'm all right.
The bad part, too, is their defense is pretty decent. So, like, they're going to, like, probably not go down by a shit ton. He doesn't get any receptions. He's just
he got a decent amount of targets last year. That's the thing, too. Like,
it wasn't, though. Like,
no, he was getting,
compared
like,
to the
4
top
or 5
5
targets a game, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but it wasn't even like they were all, like, converting. And it wasn't 4 or 5 every game. It was 4 or 5, every 3 games, maybe. So, honestly, the reception thing is just like, why? If you're playing standard, sure, go for it if people still play that
standard is great.
But as far as half point or PPR, the only reason I have him even this high is strictly just because other than all of the bad that is, like, getting put on him this year, he's never had a bad season, really. Like, even before he got hurt beginning of last year, he was having, like, one of the best running back years of all time. And then he just got hurt. So if he could still keep it up after his hurt injury, then I think people are going to look at him differently next year. But for right now, obviously we both are keeping him at 6, and that's just where we're at. I think he's safe as far as not getting hurt again, but I don't think he's going to be as elite as he once was. So that's why I have him at 6. And what's his ADP's probably like, where are you grabbing, like 8?
4? I could tell you right now. Well, I haven't updated in a minute, but
ADP is 3.6. Wow. Holy shit. People are taking him 3rd overall.
Yeah, he went up. He was 3.9 like a couple weeks ago.
I'm sorry. If you're in 3rd place and you're taking him, you screwed up. Take Swift. I'll take Josh's thing over
people think
him.
He's safe just because of the workload, but no.
Not off that injury, not off of losing A.J. Brown, which was their whole offense. Like, he made Ryan Tannehill look good, I promise you.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill is trash. Ryan Tannehill is not agile at all, so he's just going to be either throwing the ball or just giving out there.
He's one of those QBs that likes to run it in.
Yeah, he gets a little Michael Jordan jaw.
Yeah, he's going to take away some touchdowns from
I like that point, too.
Derrick Henry.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one, our 7th. Again.
The same again, yeah.
Same. That's crazy. Najee Harris for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I actually like him.
I love him as a running back. I hate his O-line. That's as simple as it gets. He's an amazing running back. Watching him preseason last year.
Saquon Barkley rookie year, pretty much. Like, O-line sucks, but he's awesome.
Yeah, but the thing was, I think they didn't. No, they did feed him as much. Yeah, I would say Saquon Barkley.
That's what I'm saying.
Freshman year.
Literally just like him.
Yeah. I would say Barkley's more agile. Like, he can cut better than
Yeah, but I think Najee's a little stronger.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's more ground and pound, for sure. But the thing is it's weird,
like
too.
it.
He's also agile when he wants to be, but not anything like Saquon Barkley. I wouldn't say anything like, but not Saquon Barkley. But Najee Harris, again, all I could say is great things about him and everything about him other than his O-line. His O-line is why he is here. If his O-line was good,
I feel the exact same way.
5.
I honestly don't like... I would be a little bit more comfortable taking him at higher. Not just... Well, we both don't like his O-line, but like, say he had a better QB. Would you feel better?
So the thing is a lot of people have been debating this, is that they think Trubisky or Kenny Pickett is going to be a better play for him than Ben Roethlisberger was. Because if you watch Ben Roethlisberger's tapes last year, he was just looking like complete garbo.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Like, I think it might be even or a tad.
So they think QB is
better.
going to take a tip. But I think their scheme and they're actually following through and not, like, choking is going to be, like, what makes him have, like, a digression.
And on top of that, like, I feel like their defense has to step up, especially in the rush.
Defense could be
rushing has to be way better because, like, obviously the more other teams out there, he has less opportunity to get the ball. I think they're going to rely on him a lot with their QBs because I don't think they rely on Trubisky that much yet. And then they're definitely not going to rely on Pickett to be like, I mean, the top rookie QBs usually throw 17, 18 touchdowns their first season. Like, they're not going to rely on them. So I do like them relying on them.
All I can say is if you are scared on drafting him because of the news from the beat reporters saying he's going to get less work, I promise you he's not going to get less work. Being a fan of Pittsburgh, all they do is feed the first guy that they know is amazing and just give it to him over and over. The second fans see them give him like someone else the carries, they're going to demolish Mike Tomlin all day long.
Honestly, though, like, I
year.
feel like he's number one. I don't want to jinx it, but number one for injury risk because of his offensive line and his workload.
I can agree with you because he was hurt in playoffs last year, even though it was the first playoff. And the last game, I believe, and now he's already going into it with the same exact foot injury. It's not really an injury; it's just
he's not going to get protected. Yeah. He's going to get the ball 1,000 times. Like I don't. It's like Saquon-esque like type deals, and I didn't even have Saquon when he was in his freshman and sophomore years, so I didn't get burned by him. But I feel like it's going to happen.
A lot of people saying he was getting fat, but they're all dumb as shit. If there's anything I learned him coming into the Steelers was his work ethic and his care for football is higher than anyone else other than like CMC, I would say.
Yeah, CMC's a beast.
Yeah, other than CMC, like I think his work ethic is harder than
Barkley. The only
Barkley.
person I can see working kind of as hard is Swift, just because of he's newer.
I don't even think with Swift like his work is.
I
mean, I never followed Swift's background story, but like Najee Harris's background story and then like how he's gotten here and like everything, like he's just like straight grit galore. Like that's all it's in him, which is great that he's at the Steelers and that's the reason they drafted him. But
so
enough of him.
But he sucks balls now.
I don't like his back end schedule. It's a little bit tough. Let me read up on this just because that's something that I don't know if you guys pay attention to, but hopefully by the end of this you guys can start paying attention to a little bit. You got Baltimore for the finals if you make it to the finals. You got Raiders. I think Raiders are going to be a little top 12, top 13, I would say, defense for all together. I don't know about their rush defense, but either way, I don't see them being worse than Cardinals since you were hyping up the Cardinals. I think Cardinals are worse than, are going to be worse than Raiders this year as far as an overall defense goes. But I don't know. I'm not sure about the rushing defense. All I know is that as far as overall defense, I think they're going to be a lot better, especially since who did they bring on? They had Max, and now they have someone else.
You're talking about Steelers, though?
What?
Who are we talking about?
Raiders.
Oh, they brought in
Max and someone else they bring on.
They have Crosby, and they just brought in
Max Crosby and someone else.
Freaking, it wasn't Khalil Mack, right?
No, Mack went to Chargers.
It's a big time guy. Oh, Chandler Jones.
Yeah. There we go. But that's another like rush passer. I mean, pass rusher. So he's not really about the rush game. So I know their defense is going to get better. I don't know if their rush defense is going to get better. But then you have Panthers, and then you have Baltimore, and then you have Falcons, and then you have Colts, then you have Cincinnati, then you have New Orleans, Philadelphia Eagles, Miami, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, Jets, Browns, New
It's
England.
not a great schedule.
Yeah, I don't like him because one, his injury, like Josh just said, and then two, his schedule's pretty tough. And I can't see him. The only reason he finished so high last year was because of how many people got hurt, and I can't see him having a huge ceiling. So that's why I got him at 7, and I believe you do as well. So we will move on to our 8. You can go ahead since this time we actually have something different.
So 8, I got Austin Eckler. We spoke on him. I think I did a little bit too. I think his workload's coming down. I think he's no way he's getting 20 touchdowns. I would say more realistically like 14, 15, which is still a great number. He's just not – I don't think he's going to hit the 1,000 mark for either receiving or rushing.
That's fine. 900 is well okay with me.
There's not going to be 900. I'm thinking more like –
especially when he has like 17 touchdowns.
Well, I think his targets are coming down, so I'm thinking like 500, 900.
500 what?
500 receiving, 900 rushing.
It'll be vice versa. Kidding me?
No. I mean, he gets
been a receiver back before a rush back.
Yeah, but there's only so much. I could tell you what he got last year. Like, it's not
500 receiving.
We could look at what he has last year. So Eckler, we have. He had 94 targets. He had 71 catches.
No way.
He averaged almost 7 yards per catch, which is pretty good. A reception.
Total yards though.
Perfect. 71 times 7. So he had just under 500 last year.
500?
Yeah. He had just under 500 last year. So I have him. Kept him the same. Loaded execs.
Rush 911, receiving 647.
Okay, so I have him going down 100 yards in receiving and staying about the same in rushing, actually a tad higher with 15 touchdowns. I don't hate him at all. I think he's safe mainly because
I like his ADP too.
Because they're not going to use him as much. Like, he's not a high injury risk at all. His ADP's rising a little bit too much for me.
It is definitely rising, but I still like it.
I don't think he's. I don't want him as number 1. Plain and simple. I do not want Austin Eckler as my number 1. I don't trust him to get the workload on a good team that doesn't need to use him.
ADP, try to guess what it is right now. I thought it was way lower. 13.4.
Yeah, but that's with everybody.
Yeah.
So still in our league, in a 10-team league, he would just be coming around.
Yeah, dude. Give me a Cook and an Eckler. If someone takes a Swift, I'm taking that.
Why does it seem so?
A Cook and an Eckler? Come on now.
It must have dropped a lot.
That's phenomenal upside.
Yeah, I got to update my sleeper ADPs.
Or Swift and an Eckler. Cook and an Eckler. Who else can you get up around there? Kelsey and an Eckler?
Yeah. I mean, I think people are going to be high on him. I think he's still going to keep going up and up.
I don't like him in the first round, which I agree with you.
Yeah, but would you like him as your number 1 running back?
Depends who I took
You'd have to have a really good receiver, maybe.
If I took a running... Yeah.
Like, who would be your second running back if you're taking Eckler in the second?
What's that?
Who are you aiming for in third and fourth rounds running backs? Or even later? Like, who are you aiming for your second running back if you have to have Swift... Or not Swift.
If Swift or Eckler come around and I can get him for my second round, I'm taking them.
Yeah, let's say you take Eckler second round.
Eckler, and then I'm taking Swift.
Who do you lean back on that drops farther running back wise?
I really don't like anyone outside the top 2 rounds.
Okay, so what are you going to do after that? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be in an uncomfortable situation where you have to take a second running back and you're going to be like, I don't like any of these guys.
If I took a wide receiver, I would need Kupp, Jefferson, or Chase in order, possibly Diggs, in order to take him second round. If not, then I'm going with like another wide receiver or something.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But if I have a good running back, already start with like a Cook, or I have
I get that,
a Swift in the first round.
So we're on the same page.
I have a Henry in first round, then I'm taking him in that second round, dude. Eckler, I'm taking over Swift unless I already have Eckler. Or unless I have Cook, because I like the high upside with Swift and Cook. Eckler is more of like you're already taking some injury risk.
I just feel like he doesn't have upside. Risk. The only thing I really like about him is just I don't think he's getting injured. But I literally think he lands between anywhere from the highest I see him going is like 6, and that's pushing it.
Let's say if you get Cook.
And the lowest, he could end as low as like 14th.
Let's say you get Cook, Swift goes off the board before it wraps around, Eckler's there. You banging Eckler, you banging a wide receiver.
You're saying I get Swift at the
No, you
8th?
get Cook.
Yeah.
Swift loses
I don't get
at
him.
9, 10, somewhere around there. You come back around, Eckler's chilling there. You pick an Eckler, you're picking a wide receiver.
Depends what receivers are left. If I
Anyone
can
out
take
of Diggs, Jefferson, Chase, or Kupp are all gone. So then you have
I'm taking CD.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Okay, what about CeeDee Lamb's gone? Because he does lose that.
I'm taking Eckler.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it's
so I like
those
CD.
five, those top 5 wide receivers. I don't know if you like Diggs that much, but I do. But
I like him compared to where he's being drafted, but I wouldn't take him
he's
early
like my
second
top
round.
4, top 5, I would say.
I like him more than Chase, and people like Chase is like number 3.
I kind of agree with that, yeah. But
So.
Chase is also nice too.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's safe, but I think the highest he goes is 6. So
I like his ADP. It's the
I have
same.
him at my 8th, right in between where I think he'll end. So I don't have a good enough upside to take him.
I have him as my 3rd running back, and if it came down to it and Cook and Eckler were there, I probably would take
Oh yeah, you following that? Because I don't.
Eckler because of the injury risk.
I mean, I get that. I get that for your first pick. It makes more sense, but for your second pick, like usually you want to try to like this is where you start to try to squeeze.
And it also sees I
ADPs
might even
up.
take Swift before any of those two, depending how the league pans out.
Yeah, your draft. Yeah.
Like if it pans out right, I might be like, oh, I'm gonna get
So who's
Swift
your 8th?
because
No,
these people are gonna screw up. What?
I have to honestly, I'm a bit higher on him too ever since the injuries, but you go on your 8th.
My 8th is Leonard Fournette. Fucking playoff Lenny up in this bitch. The dude that has shit the bed in Jacksonville for me for multiple times. But I think with how he progressed last year as far as getting a shit ton of receiving work, I think when you find someone that Tom Brady loves, you hammer him all the time because Tom Brady finds this dude and he just knows that, like, hey, if my game's going bad, I'm going to give it to this dude, which is why Gronk has been amazing for so many years. Plus,
I feel like
he's
it's
very
also
talented.
like, not that, I think he likes Fournette, but like, it's also when he hates his receivers, he's always going to dump it off to his running back before, obviously, he runs. He never runs.
Plus, he's getting older. He's less mobile, so he's not going to be running the ball much. He's not going to run out of the pocket. He's going to dump it off like you just said. So there's a lot of upside and a lot of just like good that I see for Leonard Fournette. Plus, is Gino Bernard still there, or did they get rid of him? I know they're talking about it, but I don't know
if he's still there, but I know they like the rookie they just drafted a lot.
But
And
Bernard
they
was
still
hurt
have-
last year, correct?
They still have the rookie from before, Vashon.
I really don't care about any of those rookies. But did they?
No, you'd be surprised how much they like the one they just drafted.
Rashad White is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the rookie. Yeah,
I heard some talk about him, but it's a rookie running back. I don't see them taking much role on a proven guy, especially when Brady runs the offense more than the offensive coach does. But what was I going to say? If Bernard was hurt last year, correct?
Yeah.
So I think that's why he got more receiving work. So if Bernard's there, it's going to take some away from him because I think Bernard is a great receiving back.
Oh yeah, one of the best.
But if he's not there, then it's going to be even more of a reason to like take Leonard Fournette. Plus, what is his ADP? It's got to be phenomenal. You get him on like the back second, I believe.
I don't like him this year. The only reason I'm a little bit I just started going up on him was because the injuries. They're saying Godwin's still in the boot. Was it Julio? No, not Julio. Mike Evans just hurt his hamstring. So you're losing a lot of your receiver options really quickly. And like I was just saying, when Brady doesn't like his receivers, he is not going to force the ball. He will dump that shiz off every time, and you'll get a Fournette, then 10 targets every game. Like,
I understand. But if
like
his
a joke.
ADP is 25.4, come on now. Like you're getting him in the back second to like
I don't
the
like him.
front third.
I don't even have him in my top 15 even.
Where he falls, I do like some wide receivers there, especially if I already got a definitive like JT or CMC. I don't know if like I would want to take much
Like,
risk.
do you think he could do better than anybody realistically at all that you have above him?
No, which is why he's
that's his ceiling. It's 8.
Yeah, he could go higher than other people only because of injury. So I think Henry.
So he's 8.
I think Henry could take a step down below him.
You don't think Fournette has a chance of getting injured? Like,
And I think
my man
Cook
got
can be
injured a
hurt.
lot.
What?
My man got injured a lot
Fournette?
in Jaguars. I mean, it was kind of more like Cook's injuries, like little ones.
Yeah, he's definitely been hurt and injury like prone. It's kind of like you just said, a Cook thing. But I feel more comfortable with how they use him. They don't really like destroy him.
And they changed head coaches.
Yeah, he's up in the booth now, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah. Bruce Arians is gone, and now they have Ted Bowles.
That's fine. Like I said,
who's is more defensive.
I think Brady runs the show. If Brady wants something, Brady's going to do
100%.
And that's why I like him the most because strictly because of that. Plus, you're on high power offense. They're going to score a lot. You're going to get to your touchdowns. It's plain and simple as that. You lose Gronk. You lose Gronk. Godwin's hurt in the beginning of the year.
Mike Evans might
play still. Mike Evans got hurt?
He got a hamstring already.
Oh, damn. Godwin's progressing
he's not
pretty good,
but like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be there in the very beginning. So you have that. Then you have they just picked up fucking whatever his name is, Julio Jones.
Yep.
But he's old. He didn't look like he did He didn't look as good as he used to be when he was on the Falcons. Like when he was with Titans last year, I know he was still hurt there too, but he didn't look like the Julio Jones that we all know. So there's just a lot of like in beginning year, love him. End of the year might be a little bit like worrisome, but where he's going is why I like it, and also he has a pretty soft back-end schedule, like I always say. I'm not going to go through it just because I don't want to go through it with every single one. You can go and do your own research, but his back-end schedule is pretty soft as well.
Are you actually taking him at your ranking? Like, I know you like him as ADP, so, like, you probably will take him just because he's going to fall to the 14th off, 15th off the board.
It all depends on how who's on my draft and stuff, but I like him finishing in the top 8 as far as running backs go. Like for rankings in the year, I think he will be top 8. Simple as that. He might be better, but he's not going to go past 10. So he's safe.
I just feel like he's in my head 10. He's a lot like Derrick Henry. Like all I can think about is negatives. They lost 3 offensive linemen.
All you can think about is negatives, but then you have Gronk gone. You have
So the one upside is he might get more targets.
Yeah,
might. And honestly, I don't think he's going to do crap with them because I think they lost 3 offensive line. He sucks behind. He's one of the most inefficient running backs ever to be in the NFL, mainly because he was on the Jags, but the Jags had a crappy offensive line. Now the Bucs do. I mean, it's not going to be as bad, but it's going to be pretty bad compared to last year. So he's not going to be able to get as many yards per catch or per carry. They're not going to see as many touchdown opportunities. I mean, he literally feeds off touchdowns. Like, he gets so much easy open looks from Tom Brady.
Maybe I'll take a little bit. I just dive deep.
Like, I could bump him up
in offensive
receptions and stuff. It's just between the offensive line, and I just don't like the Bucs without their receivers. Like, without Godwin, without Mike Evans. Like,
you don't think you're going to be a high-power offense?
No. Like, they're going to be relying more on their defense. That's actually still pretty solid.
I think I have him up here at 8 strictly because his ADP, but also because I think he's going to finish in top 8 because I think a lot of these running backs in the top 15, I think a lot of them can be injury-prone. I think we're going to have another repeat year of last year.
I don't know. I don't like him at all.
I don't think he's going to get hurt. That's one thing I don't think he's going to happen.
Put it this way.
Even though he has.
And the craziest part is, like, a lot of places I listen to are high on Fournette. Like, not super high, but, like you, they have no problem taking him second round. Like, they get hype about it. I'm like, that is not my number 2 running back. I
honestly will probably take a wide receiver there if I have a defendant running back. But if I have a wide receiver and I'm coming back, I'm going to take him as my. I like him as my RB1 with an elite wide receiver.
It seems like a guy who doesn't have upside. Just doesn't.
I think he has upside.
No,
not crazy upside, but as far as eighth goes, I think he has more upside than Mixon.
If he lands 8, I think it's very, very slim, but possible to hit 8. I don't see him ever going over 8, and I think he can fall back as far as 16.
All right.
And that's not what you want. And
the only reason he does that is because of injuries, just say, which is everyone on this list.
I'm saying no injury, still trash.
All right, we'll see at the end of the year. Bookmark it. End of the year, he's going to be
top 10. It's going to be perfect.
He's going to be 8,
1 to 10.
He's going to be 8 or higher, and nothing outside of 10. If it's 9 or 10, I'm still wrong, but it's nothing outside of 10. He's going to finish unless it's injuries. That's the only way, and that's
me injured one game. You're going to be like, that was it. That was the reason.
That was the reason. No. I want to chalk it to that.
So, all right, let's say
5 more games.
Let's say he misses.
So it's a 5 more games.
Let's say he misses less than 4 games. 4 games or less.
4 games less is fine,
and he's going to finish top 10.
Yeah, top 10. Top 10 if it's 4 or less. 2 or less, it's top 8.
All right. I'm saying he's not.
All right, we'll see.
All right. Number 9 spot. I did my 8 Eckler.
Oh, okay. You're number 9th?
Number 9. So I like this guy, and he just had news come out that Kareem Hunt does not want to play for the Browns. So
I wouldn't want to.
that's why I have number 9, Nick Chubb. Chubby Wubby is one of the best rushers in the NFL, period. He might be better than Henry for all I care. I think he might be the best, honestly, as far as rushing, not receiving-wise.
We also haven't saw him on a shitty offense.
Super explosive. He didn't get to play a lot last year, so his hype's a little bit down because he was dealing with injuries. Hunt got a little bit more of the hype, and he did show up. He played really well, which he always does, Hunt. But Nick Chubb's offensive line only got better. It was really good last year, the Browns. If and when Deshaun Watson comes back, it's just another thing for the defense to think about. And they can't keep their mind on stacking the box against Chubb. So they have to worry about Watson running outside the pocket. They're going to be using a spy, which at the same time might not help Chubb, but I just think it's just going to open up opportunities, plain and simple. Watson's going to help a lot. And vice versa, before Watson, you have the crappiest QB fantasy guy ever, Jacoby Brissett, to play the game, so he destroys every wide receiver he ever played with. He does not destroy the running back because that's all they're going to rely on is the running back. If Kareem Hunt, for whatever reason, I feel like it's either going to be one or the other. Like, he's going to get used a lot just in spite of him wanting to leave, and they just want to pound him to the ground and get as much out of his money in his last year.
I'm trying to think Browns organization. I don't think they would do that.
Or
they don't care.
They're going to do the opposite and use him less because they like Dearness Johnson, and they want to
forgot about that dude.
Hit him back with the, oh, you want to leave and you want to not help us win this championship? We'll just not give you any whatever playing time, so he doesn't have much to go off of. Oh, I want this big next contract. Like, well, you didn't do shit. No other team wants you. So I can see both them playing out.
It's a lot of scenarios.
No, it's really just 2 scenarios. So just Hunt either gets a lot of work. When I say a lot, I mean like 40%, like his usual.
Or none of that.
Or he gets all the way down to like 20% snap share, and Chubb just, honestly, he should be a workload guy the way he runs. Like, yeah, he's not the best pass catcher, which I don't have him statted out to be, but he runs so explosive that when he hits holes well, like this man just touchdown. So I like him, like upside-wise. I can see him landing as high up as Dalvin Cook, really any guy. I can see him as high as JT, mainly just because of touchdowns. Like, if this dude can score 20 touchdowns in one season easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
If they give him it.
And if he gets 20...
they're not giving it to him.
Well, that's the thing. It's really just about Hunt and how it plays out. But if he gets opportunities, I mean, he's probably one of the few running backs that can do it and didn't do it last year just because he was either hurt or didn't get the opportunities as much, or just wasn't getting into the touchdown even though he had the opportunities. Like, he really should have, realistically, and he will more often this year. So I like him at number 9 spot. I mean, he's been getting like not drafted that high. Like, he's falling to like the back of the second, sometimes even the third round in 10-team leagues.
So let me tell you why I don't
like
have
he's
him.
A great number 2 running back. You can't even deny it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm taking him as my number 2.
Yeah,
I like his ADP.
Like, if you got JT and Nick Chubb, you'd be like, oh, this is it. I'm good. I'm set.
Depends who you can get around there, to be honest. Because if I have JT, I know my running back 2 doesn't even need to be good. It's as simple as that. Because JT's a league winner. I would compare it better with like.
Like, do you think Nick Chubb's super safe? Yeah, I feel like he has to be.
There's a little bit of risk.
What's his worst side? Like 15 at the worst. There's no way he's under 15.
He's safe, but there is a little bit.
So that
of risk.
means
the risk is Hunt. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but JT. Yeah, but if he's not hurt, if Chubb's not hurt, he's still going to get his work. Like, he's going to get over 50%.
So let me tell you why I have him not in the top. What are we at, 9 now?
Go for it.
8.
I need a negative reason because I haven't found one.
So obviously you never take a look into this stuff, and it's something back end schedule. So if you're in finals, right, you play Washington. Washington has a very good rush defense. Okay, New Orleans is who you play. Very good defense. Yep. Baltimore Ravens is who you play again in the playoffs. So your playoffs is
average.
Your playoffs is Baltimore,
average,
New Orleans, and Washington.
And average.
No, they're not average.
Whatever, above average. They're not top. Yes. They're not top 8.
Like
they're scaring me away from a guy who's shown to be one of the best rushers. Like, this man is going to explode. They'd be like, oh, look at the best linebacker. Boom.
With Hunt,
out.
Though, it is. You have that back end schedule with Hunt.
Hunt is old. He wants out of the Browns.
He's probably younger than Chubb. 26.
What?
And Hunt.
No way.
Yeah, he came in the league young.
Chubb's 26?
Both 26.
They're both 26?
Mm-hmm. All right, well, whatever. Hunt's had a lot more work put on him. Chubb just entered late.
But he
actually went to college.
He was also a backup. Let's go. I love Chubb, don't get me wrong, but I don't. His back end schedule is the thing that scares me with the Hunt thing. You take away Hunt sits out, sure, go for it. But Hunt, I just looked it up this week. Was it? He came back to practice. It says Hunt returned to team drills Sunday after voluntarily sitting out.
Drills.
What's that?
He's doing all individuals, they said.
Returned to team drills.
Oh, you returned to team drills?
Hunt returned to team drills Sunday after voluntarily sitting out the last 2 days while disgruntled with his current contract. So it's contract shit. So contract goes out the door. The only fuckboy that sat out like an idiot is Bell.
They're not going to re-sign him.
No, they're
big
not.
Money.
I think it's going to be phenomenal, him leaving, because he's going to go somewhere nice, and he's going to be like top 15 running back next year in fantasy.
He'd have to be on a really good team. Honestly, people are talking about him getting traded, but the Browns don't want to. The Browns are saying he doesn't want to. Obviously, he wants to.
Chubb's not top 10, my eyes. Simple as that.
Like, what if
Chubb doesn't play?
What if Hunt leaves this year? Where does Chubb move up? Top 3 easy? I won't say easy, but like a chance to easily be up top 3.
Top 5, I would put it. I don't know. It's so interchangeable.
Like, he's locked in as top 5, right?
3 to 5 is very interchangeable.
All right, but top 5, I feel like is locked in.
Yeah, I would agree. Especially if what's his name comes back. It's also a poor offense.
Because Hunt, I forget what team really needs a running back.
If Watson comes back, then it's also like definitely top 5.
That would be a sucky landing spot
for Hunt. Oh yeah, big time. He would screwed. It's all situational. But anyway, you just did 9, right? Yeah. My 9th is
my Reese's. They're probably melting.
Joe Mixon.
Oh my gosh, they're like soup.
Yeah, it's disgusting. We talked a lot about Joe Mixon already, so I don't want to go into detail with him. Other than he's like we just talked about, very safe. I think he's one of the safest, if not the safest. JT's probably like the only real safest one here. But he's very, very safe. He's on a high-power offense. I think their offensive line, like you talked about before, has only gotten better.
Why do you have him lower? That much
I don't really know, other than I don't think there's so much weapons in his offense. You have the 3 wide receivers, which are I think could all be wide receiver ones in a right position.
Oh, what's his name? Between T. Higgins and Chase, they both could be top 10.
Oh, easily. But I'm not talking about even the third, which is whatever his name, Boyd. I think Boyd could be a wide receiver one, some other team, some shit other team. Yes, Green Bay.
Oh, on a different team.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like fantasy number
Green
1.
Bay,
like,
he's number 1.
There's no way in hell.
Green Bay, he's number 1. Chiefs, he's number 1 other than Kelsey.
Yeah.
So like I think he's gonna be at number 1 in another team, not number 1 like ranking, but on another team, he could be number 1. So you have like 3 dominant wide receivers. I think Burrow loves to throw the ball. I think he wants to feed Chase, because the only reason I took him as rookie of the year last year is because him and his Chase duo back in college days was like phenomenal, and people thought Jefferson was like the hottest shit when he came out, and Chase was on that same exact team, and he had a better duo. He had a better tandem. Like Chase was the better of the Jefferson and Chase duo in college, and Jefferson came out elite in his freshman year. So I was like, Chase is going to do 1-up. What did he do? 1-up. And now he's also with Burrow. So I love the connection. I think he's going to
completely makes it, bro.
Because I think it just all has to do with like Burrow will want to pass the ball more than he throws the ball. I don't think Mixon is a very he does catch the balls, but I don't think like that's what he's designed for. I think he's more of like a rush guy, but then also can like spill out and just like get a dump off every so often. But I don't think he's gonna spill out and get the dump offs, because Joe Burrow is a very mobile quarterback. The reason that I liked him last year was because Joe Burrow was coming off an injury, but now Joe Burrow is like full year recovered, full offseason recovered. I think he's going to be way more mobile. I think he's going to run a lot more than he did last year. I think he's going to get a lot more rushing touchdowns than he did last year. And then you have the 3 wide receivers. And then on top of that, you have not so good of a defense. So I don't think they're going to have time possession as much as other people that are above him in my eyes. Then, like, let's say Fournette, they have great defense. You're going to have a lot of time possession. Harris, a lot great defense. I think you're going to have a lot of time possession. Derrick Henry, fuck Derrick Henry. His defense is still pretty decent, though. I would mark him same around as Bengals. Cook, Vikings are pretty decent, but I think Cook's just way more higher uptake than Joe Mixon. I know you have him pretty close. Yeah, as far as, like, versatile, like, he could do more, and he's going to do more, and he's going to get more workload. They could
do the same thing.
They could, but I just like Dalvin Cook more. Not trying to spill on and fucking keep going on and on in tandem, but I also just like them more than Mixon, and I think it just has to come down to what team he's on, the situation he's on. Will they get a lot of touchdowns? Yes. Will I think he get all those touchdowns? No, because they do. Burrow is great in the red zone as well, and I think he can just spill it off. I think he can run it in. I think he can. Like, they have so much options where he's not going to have anything more than 10 touchdowns to 12 touchdowns in the year. And
I only have it for 14.
Yeah, so I have it less than that. And that's just me guessing. I'm not fucking actually looking into numbers, but I'm going to say 10 to 12. I could see him doing strictly because he's going to get workload taken away from Joe Burrow and be more mobile and want to throw the ball more than run the ball. The only reason I could see him having a higher uptake this year than last year is because I think they're going to be in the lead a lot more than they were last year. I think last year was just like their breakout year, which is why they made the Super Bowl. So now people are going to be like, oh, this team's like actually legit. They're going to be able to make more plays up with Chase and the other 2 wide receivers and the running back. So in the end, it's all that. Plus, my favorite thing, right? Is this part of it? Where are we at? Who are we talking about?
9.
Joe Mixon. Yeah, so he's got the hardest back-end schedule, I believe. Let me see this, Sean.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares besides Caleb when it comes to it. And you're like, damn me, why did he drop? Why did my number 1 running back drop a fucking 8-bomb? I don't know, dude, but that sucks a lot in playoffs. Probably will lose you it. So, finals, Buffalo. Okay. We'll start off just First game of the playoffs. First game of the playoffs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Overrated.
Second game, New England Patriots. Third and final is Buffalo.
Patriots
so those
don't care
playoffs,
about them running.
Those playoffs, in my eyes, if you compare it to every other running back, hard as shit. All right, very hard. I looked at all of them. That's like we've talked about so far, and he's had the hardest back end schedule out of anyone. And then after that, you have Cleveland. Cleveland's got a fucking dirty-ass running game. I don't know about their secondary. They have Ward, and that's pretty much about it. And then you have KC, easy. Tennessee, easy. Pittsburgh, easy. Cardinal, easy. Browns, a little bit tough. Atlanta, easy. Then you have Saints, Baltimore, Miami.
Just take
Jets.
him. He's on a great offense.
Yeah, but that's why I have him at 9, not because I have him in front of anyone else. The only other person I can interchange him with, deadass, is Leonard Fournette. Everyone else, I'm taking him way above him.
You're taking Henry way above Mixon?
Yep, unfortunately.
Okay.
If we swing back second round, you have Henry and Mixon on the field. You're taking fucking Mixon. You're telling me you're going to take Mixon on the swing back, regardless of who you have.
Over Henry?
Because that's where Mixon's going.
Yeah.
What, dude? Yeah. That means you could have like a if he's swinging back, you could have a Dalvin Cook and a Henry. You could have a Swift and a Henry. You could have a
Mixon, bro.
Eckler and a Henry. But you're going to put Mixon in there instead of Henry.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, dude, that's wild.
That's wild. That's all right.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. That's Joe Mixon is my 9th, and your 9th is... You already talked about him, Nick Chubb. All right, I like my 9th better, but we'll wait.
We're back on the same schedule.
That's probably why yours is higher, actually. Nick Chubb's out of my top 10, so let's do top 10. Final one, actually.
Yep. We're both the same here.
Oh, shit. Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
I believe a lot of people
Penn State.
Are not really about
we are
him
Penn
right?
State.
You can go on with
Penn State
why
sucks.
you like him. I'm looking at him as ADP.
I mean, I don't love him, but he doesn't have anybody competing behind him for touches. I think they needed a change, and they did get a new head coach. They had pretty good weapons in the receiver core. They just need them to stay healthy between Galladay, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard. They're all pretty good receivers that can handle their own and have good yards after catch, especially Kadarius Toney. So trying to open up the field, I think they improved slightly in the offensive line. Not drastically, but enough that it's better than what Saquon's used to in the Giants because it was always trash when he was there. That's probably why he's always hurt. I like that he has some time from his last injury, so he has a decent amount of time to recover. I still think he plays very hard even when he's like injured. So like I don't see the injury slowing him down. It's more so just is it going to aggravate something else because of all these injuries? His body's just not being able to keep up with it.
His injuries are what put him at 10 because I think we would have him higher 100%. If he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, well, not completely.
No, if he never got hurt, I think he would be higher. I'm not saying like, okay, we're scared that he's gonna get hurt. I think all the injuries make him drop to this. Like he's not what he used to be.
Like he's pretty much the same as Najee Harris, just more injury prone, and I think they're about the same offense. Like they're both not gonna be great.
Did you ever notice though? Since Daniel Jones has touched the field, he hasn't had a good season. It was only when what's his name was there,
Eli
Peyton.
Manning?
Yeah,
Peyton, I mean,
Eli.
I could definitely see that.
That's pretty wild though. Like maybe it was just because Eli sucks so much. He's just like, oh shit, here's the ball, because we all know he got fed like that over and over.
Yeah,
and over. Now Daniel Jones I'm
Daniel
a little
Jones
bit better.
Is known for being running.
Yeah, more mobile.
I just feel like we haven't really gotten to see a good, at least not full season, but like 14 games since his rookie year to see like what he can really do because we all know he's explosive. He just needs a decent offensive line to give him those holes.
Missed 5 games last year. That's a pretty good chunk.
For sure. And I feel like there's got to be more than that on top of that. Like, because I mean, like he might have missed 5 games, but did he really play that much on the other ones? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like he was hurt. He's dealing with injuries. He just came back-to-back seasons.
Let me see what I gave him because when I stat my guys out,
not good too. Like they're bad injuries. I don't know exactly what they are, but I just remember hearing.
When I stat them out, I don't completely count games. So I have him playing 11 games last year, which means he missed, in my head, 6. Because I only counted like the ones he missed like more than he normally would have snap percentage wise.
Right.
I only counted as like half games. So in 11 games, it's not great. 4 touchdowns. He had 57 targets, 41 catches. He ran the ball 162 times. I just like that their offensive line got a little bit better because that's really what it comes down to. Like when you have guys like Najee Harris and Saquon Barkley, like they're such good players that if they're healthy and their offensive line is flowing, they're going to get enough work that like you're going to see points.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It might not be super consistent,
top 3,
because their offensive line isn't good enough. But like
they could be top 3 week in and week out.
Put it this way: I think Giants' offensive line is like 5 to 10 spots higher than Steelers.
I don't know, to be honest.
So I guess
no, they're both shit.
I just feel like he's a risk factor. Like I'm not taking him as my number 1 running back, Saquon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. If you're taking him in the top.
He's got
first round. You're fucked.
My second running back. Like, there's no way I'm taking him as a number 1.
Yeah, but I also am not taking him in the back end round if I have like anyone. If I have a JT or CMC, I'm definitely not taking him. If I have anyone outside of that, I might take him, but it's still like I think I want a wide receiver.
His ADP is still pretty high.
23. Let me see.
Yeah, like he's barely falling.
23.9.
He'll probably go in the second early, but like he barely comes out of the second round. Like. I don't know. That's tough.
I like a JT with like a
Saquon,
Debo Samuel and Barkley combo. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's not awful. I just don't love it.
I think
I'm not
with
as high
JT
on
upside
Debo this year, and I'm not as high on.
Actually, no, I wouldn't even take him with the JT. What am I saying?
Not as high on Debo and not as high on Saquon.
Take it back-to-back wide receivers if I had JT because you're coming back in the second and third. Taking back-to-back.
It really just depends who falls, but.
I don't think anyone's going to fall there.
Like I said, I mean, there's not much to say about Saquon except offensive line a little bit better. I think overall they'll be a little bit better offensive-wise. So he should be in top 10. He should be right around that range, honestly.
It's all going to be coming down to injury. I think that's all it is.
Like, what's the highest you think he can land at? Because
5?
I don't. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I don't think he can barely break the top 5 just because their offense is not going to gel as well as it should.
And that's only if other people get hurt in the top 5.
No, I could see him bumping up there.
Even if everyone stays healthy?
It's very difficult, but yeah.
JT stays healthy. CMC stays healthy. Austin Eckler stays healthy. Cook stays healthy.
I don't have Eckler.
Okay, let's
see Eckler falling below.
Fuck Eckler then. JT,
CMC's gotta be
CMC,
ahead.
Cook, Swift, they all stay healthy.
They all stay ahead.
Harris, stay healthy, stays ahead.
No. I can see
You can see him drop
falling
off. Joe Mixon?
behind. Oh, yeah. All right, so right around like 6.
5, 6. That's where I could see him
That's
like
the
peeking
highest
out
he
there.
can go. Which isn't awful. You're drafting him at 10. You get him. You can go as high as 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then I think the lowest he can go is like 15, as long as he plays.
But the thing too is if you reach on him, well, I won't even say it's a reach because that's where he's going. But if you have JT, amazing year, or let's say you have CMC, you take him second, right, overall, then you go and you fucking take Barkley, no bueno.
I just feel like he's not gonna be consistent. Like even if he ends at like 7 to 10, like his games are gonna be like, oh, I hate him this game. Oh, I like him this week. I hate him this week. You know what I mean? Like he'll have 0 touchdown games left and right all the time.
Yeah, and that's the scary part too. Is that's why I don't really like much bad offensive teams. I don't think any of them are really in a bad offense other than Swift, and that's just because he has so much workload and so much is everything. I think it's just talent. And he elites. He goes far and beyond all the rest. But all right, well that's it. It's good to be back and
it's
back
great to be
podcast. And that is our top 10 running backs full PPR of the 2023, 2022, 2023 season. I'm hoping it's a great season. Last year playoffs ended amazingly, so I'm hoping we get another great playoffs. And whoever your team you root for, I hope you do great. If you're doing fantasy, I don't know why.
You know what we should talk about very, very briefly? Where we slot Alvin Kamara if he plays the whole year. You just slot him top 10, right?
Top 10. If he plays the whole year,
I feel like I'm got him right at the like anywhere from 5 to 7. Maybe even 4.
He would probably be my 6. I would probably replace him with Henry.
Yeah, we're just like guessing. I would just think it's got to be around there.
And I would push everyone else down. Yeah, he would be my 6.
Yeah,
if he plays the whole season. But if he doesn't play the whole season, then I'm taking him far, 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 far beyond anyone else will touch it.
Yeah. So let us know what you think about our rankings. Any changes? Anything you see that's? I don't think really out of the top 10. It's most people are on the same page for the most part. It's more so just rearranging it. Who's higher on everyone's site?
Like it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you do subscribe, unsubscribe, and resubscribe, please, and thank you.
Unsubscribe.
We hope you guys have a great day, great year.
Let's get some football going.
Welcome back, baby. Peace.
Later. Damn. Sorry, I can edit it out. If I ever get to it.